Hi everyone, this is Sunette, and in this portal video, I would like to continue sharing more about my ability to interdimensionally physically see. In other words, what process or processes did I walk to have this gift of seeing a multitude of consciousness, being, and physical dimensions within this physical reality through my own body, the portal. Now, what this means, what does it really mean to interdimensionally physically see? Interdimensionally means that there is a multitude of dimensions, like layers, pockets of information stored, stacked, manifested within your physical body. Now, interdimensionally physically means that I have access to be able to see and look into and comprehend and understand, see the history, the creation of your being, your mind within your body. Now, though, it is also, as mentioned, very determined and specific by a moment's interaction between myself and another person. Meaning, even though I have that ability and I have that gift, also when I'm portaling, when I'm out of my body and I have access to the interdimensional physical existence, I can see everything. But the moment I am back here, my seeing is also very dependent on a person's mind, being, and life process. So, yes, in moments when I am asked, when we're communicating, and depending on the nature of my relationship with someone, I will accordingly have little access or all access. And sometimes, even though I am given all access to a person, I cannot speak, I cannot show, I cannot share. That being very much also due to the fact that, with having this gift, having all this access, each one's process is dependent on themselves and themselves alone. I can only intervene and facilitate it when and as possible, in a way that will not compromise your choice that you make in who you are in thought, word, and deed as a person. So now my seeing, interestingly enough, developed over the years through my portaling, where initially when I started portaling, I could only see the interdimensions, meaning, like, for example, I could see, beings moving around, walking around, mostly also, for example, memories. This is where ghosts, if you want to call it that, ghosts, are created within matter, within the spaces in between. Now, these ghost creations, they only appear in like one space and one time and for only so many moments, because that apparition, if you will, it's more an apparition than and a projection and a hologram than an actual being. But it was always quite fascinating to see those, because you'll sometimes see a person in like years or almost lifetimes ago, just circling, just walking around over and over and over again. But that's where this was also more explained in the paranormal series in EQUAF, where, a being in their lifetime, they would go to a certain place all the time, every day, for a certain amount of time. And what starts happening is they imprint their signature, memories, data in matter itself. And then it layers. And the more it layers, the more stronger those memories become. And even until when the person dies, that hologram keeps coming up. It keeps projecting. because the memories that were stored in matter itself, in that space, in always that time, resonates and vibrates so strong. And that was also quite fascinating to read time, to read people that's walked the earth years ago. I can still see and access that. Now, that's where my seeing initially started, being able to see more of the interdimensions and everything. I didn't initially see the relationship between the interdimensions and the physical. In absolute detail, be able to see a person's mind in their body and where exactly it's stored, like the conscious, subconscious, unconscious, quantum mind, quantum physical mind. And now I can. So that has evolved, that seeing, and it's also taken a lot of practice where I had to practice on myself first. I practiced in my body. When I was here, I look into my own mind with awareness. I just take a moment, take a breath, observe movements within me, see where they're coming from, what organ, what part of my body, what part of my mind is it connected to, and then I'd leave my body and go and cross-reference on the other side. Did I see it exactly the same? So that was a point that I just naturally started doing it. I really started having so much fun with seeing, and so I enhanced it and developed it even more. So as much as it was a gift, it's not just something that's given. I walked many processes to specify it and enhance it and develop it with much cross-reference, obviously, also. Mainly only cross-referencing for myself, and I had a couple of other people in my life also who assisted and supported. So, when I would be practicing on me, I would then also expand to putting myself out there, explaining things to people, opening things up, sharing what I see. That in itself also took a process to have the confidence, to be able to speak and share with people what it is that I see. It's not easy. It's not an easy point or position to be in, because I mostly came into contact with people at the same time as wanting to hear, they resist it and fear it and react to it quite a lot. So that has been a rocky process, figuring out a way to share and explain and show something without another person reacting too much or immediately putting up all their defenses and immediately going, no. Because that was still also when I was too interdimensional, I realized. I was seeing only the mind way too much. I wasn't giving the person a reference that they can use for themselves. Other times, there just isn't any reference because the information is so deep. So I then share with them that, okay, you can't see it now, but if you do this and this and this and that, you'll notice these changes, and that will be your cross-reference of what I was saying and sharing and showing. Because that for me as well was difficult, because, see, for me, with seeing so much also within myself and being so interdimensional, I worked with points like this, fast, quick, immediate. Not always. I mean, there's sometimes, and still is, processes that I walk through with things that's going on in me that I can't necessarily immediately see or have access to or open up, because that's specific to my personal process in my body in this lifetime. And that's also something that most people forget, that, yeah, I can portal, and yes, I can see. That is me being in the service of me as life. But within that as well, I have a personal process. We almost in a way think that if you, let's say, get a gift that all of you suddenly changes, like your whole mind and your whole process is fixed for you. You don't have to walk anything or do anything. You're like this godly person. When all the while having this portaling and having the gifts that I have also developed for myself, it has actually made my personal process so much more challenging. I mean, yes, I had all the access in the year after, and I walked a substantial amount of processes in all of existence, and it's been extraordinary and amazing. But beyond all of that, and everything that I've had access to and been exposed to, and still am, I'm still within it all walking a personal process. So that's also just to clear the air when it comes to, so many people almost in a way, expecting a godly figure when, I'm a being, no different to any person on this earth. I'm a being. I'm a person. I have my own personal process. Yes, I'm walking it way differently, but it doesn't make it any easier or better. It, as I said, it makes it so much more challenging. So just to also, for each one, having a look at that tendency or that programming, within all of us, that when you're perceived to be something, then apparently you lose your individuality, yourself as a person, the fact that you're a being. So as much as, yes, the portaling and the seeing has been eye-opening within myself and existence with all the people I've worked with, and how much more over the years it's actually taken to try and enhance it and specify it, how I see, how I share it, how I speak it. The beings even also through the portal maturing with me over time, because comparing to the beginning and now, that's has been a process all of us walked. I walked a process with beings in the dimensions, Most people here walk a process with human beings, but we're all still beings, just in different realms, different realities. But the one main gift that I would see as actually a real gift is that I can finally get to that point of how to show and share and explain and open everything up in a way that people will want to hear, or want to listen. Because it's mostly still been reacting and resisting and fighting. I found that it's mainly been, there's this inherent tendency for a self-interest, where we make things about others, about our emotions and what comes up in this head. We very seldom have the capacity to make a choice, to be able to take a breath and rather take a step back and maybe open oneself up for another person than fight them or react to them or resist them. Just listen, just hear, So still walking that process at the moment of what does it really mean to hear? Is hearing something I can assist and support with? Is it part of everyone's processes? But how? There must be a way. So that's my question. I'm busy walking the quest I'm on with the beings, is assisting and supporting with developing a hearing, an ear, a hear for what we're here to show and share, and primarily to assist and support your release from this mind, this head, because there's so much more in existence that you just don't have access to now, but you can within yourself, within your being, within how you speak and live and behave. I mean, life is also not about access, so many people always want the access that I have. I'm like, I only have this access so that I can help show you that we must change as people, as a humanity on this earth, that we have the ability to actually really inherently, substantially, fundamentally change for the better of ourselves and everyone. Why wouldn't we just do that? Why has that really been so difficult for all of us throughout time to do that one simple thing? Just be more aware, just care, just help, support, change, create. Where'd all those principles go? It's not that they're gone. It's not being accessed and lived. All right, everyone. This is me for this video. And in the next videos to come, I'll have Joe joining me again. Just had a few personal points to open up and share to set the foundation, and where we'll continue in sharing how my seeing also developed through beings who I came across in the year afterlife dimensions, interdimensions, where I would be able to merge with them and share one another's gifts. That was also something amazing in existence. It wasn't something like, oh, I'm special because I can do this. It was like, who can't do this? Who else can I share with? Because it was quite interesting that one way of seeing everyone could do, but everyone had their unique way of doing it, which is quite fascinating. On this earth, again, what overrides? Self-interest and greed. We think, oh, it's just mine. When I am, through the portal, also the gift that I have, I'm giving to everyone and finding a way how to. But I'll get there. Thank you very much.